take a look at the front pages this morning. This day newspaper headline: Democracy has come to stay in Nigeria. That's from Irabor. Some writers says the military will back up police for smooth elections. And President Buhari reviews the last Remembrance Day parade as president. That's the president there remembering our fallen heroes. Meanwhile, from the Labour Party presidential candidate Obi, he says how he will address ethnic agitations if elected president. This comes on the anniversary of the end of Nigeria's civil war. More headlines: Nigeria records 29 fresh cases of COVID-19 in 1 week. WHO urges retention of face mask. Tinubu meets APC Guba. National Assembly members maps out winning strategies. Above the nameplate of this day this morning, Atiku appeals to Nigerians to collect their PVCs. Meanwhile, CBN tightens news on money launderers and terrorism financiers.
This is the Punch newspapers, leading also with the money. Bank borrowing from the Central Bank of Nigeria rises 260% to 21.87 trillion naira. 42 COVID-19 infections recorded. Federal government rules out restrictions. 16 PDP supporters killed, 83 injured in crash. And widows demand benefits as the federal government honors fallen heroes. And terrorists lynch Niger priest, abduct 5 Katsina worshippers. And the NBA president seeks constitution amendment and independent candidacy.
Let's take a look at the Guardian Nigeria this morning. Leading headline: Nigeria loses 8 trillion naira to foreign exchange arbitrage in 3 years. Some writers: realistic exchange rate will add 4 trillion naira to Federation account in 2023. 3 years after rate harmonization, still illusion. At the bottom there, Obaseki visits 12 rescued kidnapped victims, hails security officers, and Nigeria's energy transition marred by debt, subsidies, and stranded oil.
The leadership says gunmen killed 37 police officers in 52 attacks. Niger government condemns killing of Catholic priests and attack on church.
The Nation newspaper this morning: Tinubu rallies APC leaders and candidates for election. Ex-Lagos governorship, National Assembly, standard bearers brainstorm. Just above there, CBN's credit card takes off.
The international papers: Daily Express, countryside under siege in rush for homes.
And the Financial Times this morning: Poll pulpit, Biden deflects document row. And some business: companies face billions in write-downs as Davos confronts soaring economy. We have our correspondent Roti Sodiri bringing us updates as Davos begins today. Sunak to block Scottish transgender bill in constitutional nuclear option.
Pupils face online lessons. The paper: pupils face online lessons as teachers plan strike.
And for the press preview, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello, who joins us now. Emmanuel, good morning. Thanks for being here. Let's take a look at this day newspaper talking about democracy has come to stay in Nigeria. This is from Irabor at the remembrance of our fallen heroes. There's so many angles to this. You have him talking about democracy. Also, President Buhari, this is his last parade as president. Irabor also says the military will and is willing to back the police when it comes to the elections next year.
Well, yes, I think what's striking in the whole of this is that it's the last, engagement of this nature of Mr. President. So that's what makes it historic. And it's coming a few days, practically we are counting on days now, on the very contentious election that a lot of people think so many things are going to happen. It's going to be, it's one of the most watched transitions in the history of this country. And then it's coming, the transition itself is coming, Nkechi, if you note, it's coming in the midst of all the security challenges that we have. So that is what has brought out this event in very bold relief. apart from the ceremonial aspect of it, where you have this laying of wreath all over the state governors doing that. It brings back the very deep issue of how this democracy will be monitored, how it will be policed, how it will be safeguarded, and how it will be rescued from the disintegration. So you have the army chief saying that, look, democracy has come to stay. That's a very weighty statement, especially if you background it against all that has been happening elsewhere in the continent, the rumors of coups in some places, and even actual takeover of power. Some people have actually worried about such kind of situations where transitions are not done very well. There's been rumors, in some places around those kind of issues. But then this is weighing strongly on that. The CDS is saying that cannot happen, and that for Nigeria it has come to stay. And he said, look, we're going to police these elections very well. And he says he's talking to the IGP because a lot of people think that if we don't get this transition right, we can be transiting into something else. But coming on a day like this, when we remember those falling roads, the CDS is saying that, look, already a lot of presidents paid for this democracy, and that they are willing to pay more price to ensure that it's sustained. It's good reassurances for everyone that has been worried so far about what's going to happen in a few weeks or few months' time as we head into the presidential elections.
We're talking about the elections, Manuel, still in this day. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress is meeting with Guber National Assembly candidates to map out winning strategies ahead of the election next month. But in this day, a former presidential aspirant, still in the All Progressives Congress, is urging Nigerians to, in his words, reject politicians promoting emilokon and politics of entitlement. He also says that politicians seeking votes from electorates do not ask others in their campaign team to respond to questions directed at them. These are the words of Pastor Tunde Bakare, overseer of the Citadel Global Community Church. What do these words spell, Emmanuel?
Well, a lot, and coming from someone that is seen as from the base of the candidate, Tunde Bakare, that's very weighty. And Tunde Bakare is not an easy voice, a small voice in the polity. You remember he ran with this president, as a running mate at the time. So he's been in the public domain, and he's well respected in that. And the things he say are very weighty. So he's rejecting, the politics of regions and saying that, look, some of the things that Tinubu has been accused of throughout this campaign, the fact that he's deflecting, questions from himself, the fact that he's not out there, people have fact-checked some of the things he said. Others have laughed at the way he almost close to comical ways he's been expressing himself. So Tunde Bakare is bringing all that out and saying that we don't have a president that we can really count on, especially in the way he's making his delivery. His outing has not been very, very presidential. But the president himself, the presidential candidate himself, to put a lie on all of that, you see him having these meetings at the weekend, bringing together candidates of his party, and giving a show of cohesion that they can go into this election as one force. Some people say that is one thing he knows how to do very well, marshalling out the resources, human resources, putting a force together, putting a team together for the election. But then those that Tunde say are the sort of things that are dogging his campaign. The fact that he's not out there, the questions about his capacity or his health, and all those sort of issues that Tunde is raising. But the man himself is trying to rally his base, bringing together those contestants was very good, because they will give him a push, and that is the kind of push he will be needing as he goes into the election. Compare that to the PDP that's still having those G5 issues hanging on it, and all the other campaigns. Tinubu seem to be going into January as we head into February, with his base under him and pushing for for some form of unity. A lot of people still worry about what he'll be telling the electorate, and Tunde Bakare's outburst between yesterday will surely slow down the momentum that he tries to he's seeking with that kind of push.
Speaking of promoting unity, the Labour Party presidential candidate Obi was speaking at the anniversary of the end of Nigeria's civil war, and he was really doting out how he'll address ethnic agitations if he's elected president next month. I don't know if you listened to that speech, Manu.
Yes, I did, but again, like with the crisis around the Obi push is always those the same thing he's raising, the problem of unity, the fact that even his base has not rallied that base, the southeast base, around him a lot. Some people will say that he has not done a lot there. There was a story of Soludo pulling down his billboards at the weekend in Anambra State, things like that. And then the crisis in the southeast itself, the problem of IPOB, those insecurity, the fact that there are attacks on institutions of elections in the southeast. Almost people wondering whether those 11 million votes in the southeast can actually come out on election day, given the crisis has been there. A leading story, the big story of Leadership newspaper is talking about those deaths, the number of policemen that has been killed in the southeast alone over in the last 1 year or so. Clearly saying that the southeast, where Obi should have been enjoying some robust kind of support, it's in deep crisis as we head into this election, with people wondering whether the security situation there will not affect the 11 million votes that the candidates, especially Peter Obi, is targeting.
Well, still talking the Labour Party candidate, we're expecting him to address Chatham House today. What is your expectations? What are the expectations?
That seems to be his strength. If Tinubu is good at rallying human resources, Obi's strength will be in the area of giving those kind of very powerful, punchy speeches, backed with very relevant figures. I think it's going to be an interesting outing. A lot of people will listen very carefully. He's going to touch on some of the things he talks about all the time. His ideas, the big ideas he's got on how to revamp the economy. Of course, his own records too when he was governor. I'm sure he's going to touch on that. He's going to talk about the possibility of him, or the chances of him winning elections with his structure, the Obi army as they call them, the people on ground. He will talk about, of course, technology, how he's going to deploy that. And talking with that kind of audience, he's going to seek to talk about, I'm sure, the cooperation he will be needing from the international community, the global market, as he embark on, on his push to become president. So I'm sure it's a speech that a lot of people will watch, probably devoid of the dramas of, the other outings that we've had in the past in the same platform.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel Bello. That's the press preview. Let's hear your views on all the burning issues. Follow us on Arise on Twitter at Arise TV. You can join today's conversation using the hashtag Arise Daybreak.